Hello everyone, it's me, I'm back. Been on a short break. We're now on to U and V. You might detect a note of gravitas in my voice, so U could be for uh-oh, it's one of those serious political episodes. I haven't done one in a while. There's enough depressing shit going on, but after recent events in Britain, things are looking quite bleak in the United Kingdom, therefore in Scotland. There was a protest march organised a few weeks ago by the far right with the oxymoronic title of Unite the Kingdom. It didn't look like they were uniting anyone apart from bigots. Here's the thing though, there might have been people on that march with legitimate concerns. The cost of living, an underfunded NHS, affordable rent, underperforming schools. I mean, the list goes on and on. However, to blame all of that on people arriving by boat who make up about 4% of immigration is nonsensical. And leading on from that, I find it unfucking believable. There's another U. How far Britain has fallen that the electorate is left with considering voting for Nigel Farage in the Reform UK party and actually think that Nigel and his foot soldiers have any real policy or solutions to fix Britain, apart from putting up more flags. They seem obsessed and blaming people arriving in boats for everything that is wrong with Britain. For my Spanish viewers, Reform UK is basically Britain's answer to Vox. The thing is, many far-right parties are democratically elected to power. The ones that come to mind are Italy 1922, Germany 1933, Hungary 2010, the USA 2024. And instead of coming up with real policies to really help people in need and to help them get on in life, they just look to blame another group, usually the weakest, a minority which don't have that many people sticking up for them. They create an us versus them. Food prices too high. It's them. It's their fault. Been waiting 9 months for an operation. I'll look no further. They're over there. Look, it's them. Them. They did it. They caused this. Not, for example, 13 years of conservative austerity. Not Brexit. Remember that? Not a global pandemic. Not multinationals legally avoiding paying tax. No, it's people entering Britain in boats. It's all their fault for the fucking absolute mess that Britain is in. Neither is it Labour's first year in government. Over a year ago, Labour was elected with a good majority, a mandate of 5 years. Do you hear that, Elon? It's a 5-year mandate, mate. So before you start sticking your snout into British politics, why don't you learn a little bit about it first? What Keir Starmer should have done on day one was sit everybody down and say, look, just don't fuck up. All we need to do is not act like the Tory party. And to use a football analogy, we've got an open goal. All we need to do is tap it in. Just tap it in. And that should keep Weird Uncle Nigel and his pals quiet on the sidelines, acting like football dads. Let them shout pish like, why is the referee wearing black? Shouldn't he be wearing white? People are not going to care. So no free stuff. Declare everything, no dick pics, no sexting. And here's a radical idea. We're going to move to the left a little bit. We're going to tax extreme wealth. We're going to close that multinational tax loophole, pump that money back into local communities and ignore all the online crap. We've got 5 years, if only. Right, V could be for very worrying. It's very worrying that Nigel is on track to be the next British Prime Minister. A Trump wannabe, frog-like in his mannerisms, and that he and his like have the ability to spot the difference between, let's say, an Afghan asylum seeker and a third or fourth Pakistani living in Britain all his life. They can do this just by looking at them. Amazing, eh? I can't. A final thought though, going back to the us versus them mentality, anyone thinking of voting for Reform UK and these types of parties, you need to be careful because at first you might think that you're in the us crowd and you might feel good about that for a while. But sooner or later, when they start running out of people to blame, you or someone really close to you will become a part of the them crowd. So, Be careful what you wish for. Be careful who you vote for. Until next time.